great week for Canadian tennis. Gabriel Diallo winning his first career ATP title. Always cool when a player breaks through like this, and he faced a few match points earlier on in the tournament. Jordan Thompson overcame that, beats Zizou Bergs in the final. What are your impressions of Diallo? Just this kind of steady growth in his career to now a top 50 player.
Yeah, I think it's really incredible anytime you can get your first ATP title. It kind of reminds me a little bit of when Chris Eubanks won his first title coming into Wimbledon and kind of had all that momentum.
Yeah.
Maybe a quarterfinal spot is in the cards for Gabriel Diallo. I mean, he has the big serve and the weaponry. I believe this was his first week getting wins at ATP tour level on grass. So that has to feel good, getting your hands on those wins and a trophy. And I mean, if the draw is on his side, the damage is there to be done. He beat Francisco Cerundolo, I believe, on
Yep.
clay at opening round of Roland Garros. That's huge. Quarterfinal, maybe fourth round of Madrid in the altitude. So I actually remember, I think I remember Gabriel Diallo's first big win on tour when he
Dan
beat
Evans.
Dan Evans. Yeah, I remember
Mhm.
watching that, and I was impressed. I'm always kind of looking for who the guys that are going to transition from college tennis into the pros like he did. He's 23 going on 24, so he's right at that age where I feel like his mentality and experience is culminating with his physicality on the tour. And like I said, he has the weapons. I think grass is probably going to be the most advantageous for him. So I'm excited to see what he does in the rest of this grass court season for sure.
Yeah, I love the Chris Eubanks comp, actually. I hadn't even thought of that, and you think, okay, Chris Eubanks is especially tall, but Diallo is kind of that 6'8", kind of svelte build, and he is really comfortable at net, actually, which I think is really important on this surface. We know the points are incredibly short, and he moves well for a big man, which is something that's key, and you're getting these free points on serve. The margins, as you know, are so small on this surface compared to how things can kind of change on a dime on the clay.
Yep, absolutely. So I'll be definitely tuned in to see where he goes and what he does with his momentum. Because I mean, I believe his ranking is now inside the top 50.
Yeah, 44, career high
Yeah,
of 44. So,
that's
yeah.
good. He's probably going to miss out on a seeding, but I don't think there's many seeds at Wimbledon that are going to want to see him first round or second round. So fingers crossed if you're a Canadian Gabriel Diallo fan.
Yeah, yeah, he's playing Queens this week. I want to talk about American tennis here on the grass courts. This is the first time since 2006 we've had three American men inside the top 10. Ben Shelton cracking the top 10 for the first time in his career, joining Taylor Fritz, who's number 4. We have Tommy Paul there at number 8. Are you at all surprised by this to see Ben Shelton in the top 10 this early in his career, or is it kind of matter of time for him?
I think it was more a matter of time. When I first put eyes on Ben Shelton, I saw a game that could disrupt a lot of the top players, and he's proven bit by bit that that's what he can do. I mean, his match against Carlos Alcaraz at the French Open was one of the best fourth rounders, I believe. He's pushed a lot of good players to get to the semifinals of majors that he has, and it's kind of like I guess a little shocking that he's in the top 10. I was watching his reaction, like, oh wait, it kind of happened to me. It kind of happened
Mhm.
for me. But his game is all the way there, and I believe that it's constantly improving. I think one of the things he's had to improve on is his rally tolerance, moving in and out of the corners, and just being a little bit more consistent and smart serving. And 9 times out of 10, when I watch a Ben Shelton match, I see incremental improvements in those areas, and he's hungry for it. I think he really elevates his game at the slams, and I think the grass court, like I've been saying, which is a through line through this episode, he has the tools in his game that are advantageous on the grass court surface. A big lefty serve, huge forehand, and the ability and the want and desire to get to the net. So if he can culminate all of that and his draw is kind of on his side at these tournaments, I wouldn't be surprised if he picks up a tournament title in the lead-in, or we find him in the second week of Wimbledon.
Yeah, no, no, definitely. And I have this discussion with other tennis fans. Ben Shelton seems like one of those polarizing athletes, and yet you can't take your eyes off him. Like for me, I don't know how you feel. I think we need more of these personalities in the sport.
I'd agree. Yeah, I I've always enjoyed the fact that he comes onto the court believing and showing that he is going to win and wants to win. He doesn't back down from the occasion. He's a big match player. It doesn't always mean he's going to get the win, but you can tell that he really wants it and it's almost palpable. You know, you can kind of feel it through the television screen when you're watching, and he engages the crowd. I mean, he's not just out there just hitting the forehands and regulation backhands. He's inviting you into the moment, and I think that's huge. For some people, for whatever their reasons are, it rubs them the wrong way and they kind of revert to, putting him in the, oh, he's kind of college tennis and brashy. It doesn't mind me. It doesn't bother me, rather. He hasn't done anything on the court that like really I feel like just crosses the boundary into like poor sportsmanship and being disrespectful of his opponents. He kind of keeps it even keel, but the fire is still burning on his competitive side of the court. So I like that. And he's in good company now in the top 10 with two other Americans.
Yeah, and let's talk about those other Americans. Very different personality is Taylor Fritz. A lot more mild mannered, great
Mhm.
ball striker. I think he's a good mover. And if you are talking about someone who's just steadily improved through his career and now has a place in the top five and is a Grand Slam finalist, it is T. Fritz. And what a great start to his grass court season, beating Alexander Zverev for a fifth consecutive time for a title. We move off the clay. Is this where kind of, at least for me, I look at the remainder of the calendar year, the back half of a season? I think this is kind of where Taylor Fritz makes his hay.
For sure. I mean, I think he was on to something. I think he posted on social media like Clay Who or something like
Yeah.
that after he won in Stuttgart. It wasn't a great clay court season. I think he's had some injury issues. I mean, he said it like he doesn't really love where the balls have been on the tour. They've been heavy. I think he's kind of developed some oblique issues, and it's just kind of been like one thing after the other with him. But he got his feet on grass. He didn't drop serve at all in Stuttgart and defeated Alexander Zverev for the fifth time that they've played in the past five meetings. So I was impressed. I was a little bit down on him, admittedly, after that clay court season. And I still am not necessarily convinced yet that he is a best of five big match player, because there have been some moments where he could have kind of made a major breakthrough in a best of five match and he came up short. They were probably against all of the Hall of Famers, but I'm not 100% convinced on Taylor Fritz, but I do think if he's going to have another big splash at a major, I think this Wimbledon one will be it, because he's probably going to be the 4 seed with the title underneath his belt, with confidence back. Looks like he's healthy. It's good for Taylor Fritz. It's just so tough as an American. Um, on the men's side, it's kind of at this point, being that there hasn't been an American man lifting a Grand Slam title since Roddick in 2003, it feels like Grand Slam or bust. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of how it feels. Like it's great. Don't get me wrong that Tommy Paul, Ben Shelton, and T. Fritz are all in the top 10, but from a lot of the people I speak to that are American centric tennis players and fans, it's like, when is it going to happen where we actually are lifting the trophy and not just in the conversation?
Yeah. Do you think that's a fair expectation? I mean, like, look, we went through the big three era and we had three guys, maybe four at a time, just completely dominating, loading up on those grand slams. So we figure, okay, maybe we can't, an American isn't one of these four guys. They're not going to win the title. We transition out of this. Is there like this new feeling like, why can't an American get his hands on one of these things? Or is there a bit of an understanding that we now seem to have two new generational, unbelievable talents starting to take over?
I think it's somewhere in the middle for me personally, because those two generational talents in Alcaraz and Sinner are great, but realistically, it's not the same as having four men have a grapple hold on the biggest tournaments in the world. So there's ultimately going to be a opening in the
Yeah.
calendar where somebody can slide in that isn't Alcaraz and Sinner. Whenever that time is, I just hope that it's an American playing well, and that's not against any of the other guys that I'm a fan of and like their tennis. It's just I can feel that people are tired of the clock ticking on when is it going to be another American man that we can celebrate, because it makes me think about how much Coco Gauff was just celebrated for winning at Roland Garros with the TNT broadcasting in America. You could really feel a palpable energy and appreciation for American tennis. I think if an American man, if it's Fritz, if it's Shelton, if it's Paul, or if it's Tiafoe or somebody else we haven't mentioned, I think it's going to be a huge moment in their career. It's just unfortunately at the cost of pressure, because now it's all people talk about. Like, I've been in these I've been thankful to be in these conference rooms, and like the number one question to American men is like, when is it going to happen, or
Yeah.
something to that effect. And to play with that in the back of your head has to be tough, because it's not the same for other people. Like,
Mhm.
other countries don't have to worry about when is it going to be, like, when are you going to break the drought, but for the American men, it's like at the tip of the conversation oftentimes. So playing well and playing with that pressure seems to be hard to juggle.
Thank you guys so much for watching us at Matchpoint Canada. If you like our work, follow along, hit the subscribe button below.